really justify playing at the number I'm playing at. I understand I signed a contract last year. But to be completely honest with you, when I signed that, I told him, when I have an all-pro year, expect me to come back. And you can look at the contract and see what it was, but I think everybody kind of giggled a little bit, but in my heads, I used it as motivation to go out there and prove it.
All right, Lewis, he certainly delivered. Is Heyward justified for the hold-in?
Look, you know me, I'm always going to be someone who believes that players should fight for what they feel their fair value is. Okay, and I know Doggy and I have gone back and forth about this, about honoring a contract, not honoring a contract. This is if you really thought that you were going to outperform it, and you're going to have to come back to the table again, because you know what? This is what is working against him, Molly. He's 36 years old. And I talk about all the time about contracts supposed to really represent projected future performance. If you're the front office right now in Pittsburgh, you right now are really out there in rare air as far as trying to project future performance for Cam Heyward. As great as he has been, and as disruptive as he was last year, you're sitting there going, well, how do we value this now going forward? How do we mitigate the risk to us as far as maybe his performance dropping off and have that reflected, or rather trying to be fair with him as far as how he played last year? And what does that fair value ultimately come out to be in terms of dollar and cents? It's going to be hard to get over that $14.5, $15 million per year range in my mind. And I'm sure he's thinking, look, I deserve somewhere in 18, 19 million per year. That's what I deserve to be being paid right now. I think this one right here, this is a tough one for me. As much as I love this guy, and I played with his father, Ironhead Heyward, at Pitt, so he knows I love this young man. I knew him when he was a kid. This is going to be a tough one. And I think Pittsburgh's going to struggle with this one. I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
I'm with you know me. You signed a contract last year. I mean, come on. Don't sign a contract then. Sign a one-year contract and then play. And if you play great, you can sign another one. Steven, you can't be changing these contracts every 5 seconds because you think you outperformed your contract. There is a salary cap.
They
gave Watt all that money. I mean, they gave Rodgers plenty of money. You gotta figure it out some way. And this is a good organization, Pittsburgh. They've won championships. It's a good front office. You know that better than anybody. This is a class. This is not the Bengals. This is not Jerry Jones. This is a team and organization that's won 1 million Super Bowls, doesn't fire coaches. They do the right thing. He signed a contract, Steve, last year, 10 months ago. I mean, come on. He had a great year. Now we're going to rip him up and give him another one? That doesn't work that way in the real world. No way. So I'm with Lewis.
No,
deal with it.
The NFL is not the real world. Contrary to what Doggy would have America and the world believe, the NFL is not the real world. The NFL could come to you to restructure your deal, to take a pay cut. They can flat out cut you after signing you. This is what they do in the National Football League. If this were baseball or basketball, it would be different. It is not. Now, let's get to the facts here in terms of Heyward, all right? 1 year with 1 year left on his contract, right? If you remember the time when the Steelers typically like to negotiate extensions, because if you got just 1 year, that's when they typically like to come to you to renegotiate the deal. You know this, Lewis. You know this very, very well, Doggy. Yet in 2023, Cam Heyward made $15.85 million in cash, but he counted $22.3 million against the cap, according to my notes from over the cap, right? The team approached him and asked him to take a pay cut. That's what they did, Doggy. The same thing that you just said he can't do, they did. Okay, so now we fast forward, and what does he do? He had limited leverage because he had an injury-marred 2023 season. So what does he do? Okay, he said, all right, I'll do this, but understand that if I perform to the level that I know I'm capable of performing, I'm going to come back. That's the understanding that they had. The brother has been a Pro Bowler 7 of the last 8 years. He's been a 4-time All-Pro NFL defensive lineman and interior lineman. He had 8 sacks last year, okay? The brother performs. And so he's saying to you, I deserve this paper because guess what? I didn't deserve to take the pay cut, but y'all came to me for that. And I told y'all that once I go out there and show you I've overcome my injury, while, by the way, playing with injuries, the brothers still go out there and is an all-pro. Come on now. If you perform, particularly under duress, they shouldn't be looking. I understand, Lewis, you're going to look at him and you're going to say, he's 36 years old, blah, blah, blah. Okay, You know what the NFL has done? Louis Riddick, you know this better than me. You can restructure his deal, and you know what you could do? You can front load it, and you can make sure you pay him a lot in year one. So in other words, he's talking about this season. He's talking about going into this season. What you said, he's at 15 and a half. He probably thinks he deserves 18, 19, 20. Okay, give it to them for this one upcoming season. You can't do that? Yes, they can. They can figure out a way to do that if he's worth it. And I got news for you, doggy. He's worth it.
What's he going to do, Steve, if they don't do it to him? You know he's going to be there in week one. He's not giving up that paycheck. He's going to sign. So from a standpoint of leverage, the Steelers have the leverage.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. What I'm saying to you is I understand in most instances the team has the leverage. We get that part. But for the purposes of this show and shows who aspire to be like us, let's be very, very clear. We're talking about the right and wrong of it. We're not talking about we can mention the leverage because it's a point of fact that can't be ignored. But in the end, we have an obligation to point out whether this man has a point. And he has a point.
Absolutely.
Let's not act like he does not.
That is key right there. Look, like I said in the very beginning of my comments, I have no issue with him wanting to go back to the bargaining table and saying, hey, look, I outperformed. Projecting forward, I believe that I will be worth an elevated average per year over what I'm being paid right now. I believe I'm in that 17, 18, 19 range. I'm just saying from a front office perspective, like you're out there in rare air right now. I mean, it'll be hard for them right now to kind of wrap their mind around, okay, well, what do we think his projected performance looks like at age 37, at age 36 this year, age 37, I believe it's 37 during the season. It's going to be hard for them. I'm just saying that's going to be the sticking point. How do they arrive at fair value? How do they, and how comfortable are they extending themselves?
Louis, well, with Doggy sitting right next to you, since Doggy cares about stats, right? Let me ask you this question. For an interior lineman, what does this mean to you, Louis Riddick? 8 sacks, 4th in pressures last year with 56, 4th in tackles for a loss with 12. He also batted down more passes than any other defensive lineman in the National Football League with 11. Just last year. What does that mean to you, Louis? Talk to Doggy. Talk to him.
Look, see, the interesting thing is...
Nobody's good, Steve.
Pittsburgh has more information than anybody on the outside. They do. They know exactly how Cam works, how he meets, how he produces in practice, how he plays during games, how he influences the rest of the football team. So look, again, they have all that information. They are more equipped to make this kind of judgment as far as his projected future performance than any of us. That's why I'm saying I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I think that obviously the age factor is going to be the thing that they are going to have a sticking point with. It just is, regardless of what he just did a couple of months ago. I don't know if I would have that
Louis,
that kind of reservation. But I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
Let me say this to you. Respectfully, I have a genuine problem with something that you do all the time, and I want to put a stop to it right here on national television, Louis Riddick, Mr. Chippendales. I want to put a stop to it right now. I am sick and tired of hearing you say teams know more than we do. They all do. We get that part. But you also lament an abundance of decisions that numerous teams make because even though they have the intel, they don't always make the right decision. I got news for you, Louis Riddick. I don't see you. Let me finish. I don't see you. I want to say this because this is a compliment. Take it. Hold on to it, my brother. Okay. Here's the deal. You are not in these camps with most of these teams. You're on television. Yeah. You got a day job. Yeah. You got stuff to do. And there is no question anybody that knows anything about football knows that right now you better than half the damn executives in the National Football League doing TV. So don't tell me about what they know, even when they know they don't know. Doggy, you've been covering sports for 40 years. You're a Hall of Fame radio host. How many times have you gone on the national television and lamented the decisions that teams make all the time? You know why? Because imperfection is automatic. Perfection lies with no one. There are bad decisions that are made every day by organizations. And I believe if the Steelers don't take care of Cam Heyward, this will be one of them.
Yeah, look, and I'm not, and Stephen A., I appreciate you saying what you said, but and I'm not saying that they know more than we know to defend them. I'm just saying, like in this case in particular, Look, they know, and that's why I laid out all the other things that kind of go far above and beyond what he actually does on the football field, meaning they know what kind of person he is, what kind of leader he is, what kind of example setter he is. So that, to me, and a lot of fans and a lot of people and me, you don't really know that if you don't really talk to the people there or you don't know Cam Heyward. And that's why a lot of times I'll use that as a way to defend a guy asking for more money, because you can't necessarily attach a bottom line dollar amount to that kind of thing, but it does matter. It does matter to contract negotiators. It does matter to the owners. They will pay a premium for people who are just flat out good people. And Cam is one of those. So I'm saying that should work in his favor. That's why I think this is going to be a tough negotiation for them, given that he is 36 years old and given how well he played just a couple of months ago.
Not every organization, Steve,
Go ahead,
not every organization is Attila the Hun. Okay? Not every owner, not every GM, not every franchise are a bunch of bad guys. Pittsburgh, they've had 3 coaches in 100 years. Chuck Noll, Cowher, and Tomlin. They have had a million Hall of Famers. The Rooneys have been great owners. The grandson now owns the team. They've had a good front office. They've won championships. They got Watt signed. I mean, they've got the receivers signed. They brought Metcalf in. They had Starworth and Swan and Bradshaw. They made Roethlisberger. They have done good things here. They have been and if you were the GM of the Steelers and you signed Heyward last year to a contract, and then you got to go into Rooney's office, we got a problem. What's the problem, Lewis? Well, Heyward wants a new. Lewis, we gave him the money last year. You signed a contract. I know, we know, but he had a good year. Now he wants more. Lewis, we got all this. You can't do this. Look at the cap issues. Who are we sacrificing to make sure we give him an extra $4 or $5 million? And you as a GM, and you will be a GM. We all know that. You as a GM says, you know what? I can't argue with you. It's your team. I work for you. You're right. We signed him to a contract last year. We have to win this one. And you would do that if you were the owner or the GM of the Steelers right now. Because they deserve it.
Look, this is a tough situation. It is. It is, because it's hard to project what will Cam look like this year relative to last year, where he had a hell of a season. And I'm telling you, I would struggle with this one because I would want to do right by the player.
All right.
I would, and personal feelings do come into it.
We have to leave it there, guys. We're up against it. When we come back here on First Take, Travis Kelce with very honest comments about his performance lately. Are we confident in Mahomes' favorite target